This is a small bunch of wannabe Nazis. That's what they are. If we have to hunt you down the way they hunted down Nazis for decades, we will find your identities. We will find you.
America, that is Philadelphia's elected district attorney promising on camera to hunt down federal agents. June 18, 2026, Trump's DOJ filed a 28-page federal lawsuit against the city, the mayor, the DA, and the city's own lawyer. Before the council passed this bill, Philadelphia's city solicitor sent the mayor a written memo warning the law had significant legal problems concerning the authority of the city to regulate conduct of federal officers. The council passed it without her, and on June 18th, the same city solicitor, the one who told them not to do it, was named as defendant number 4. The law takes effect July 7th, 19 days from the filing date. An ICE agent in Philadelphia wearing a mask and driving an unmarked car, this is standard federal operational gear here, becomes a criminal defendant under city ordinances on that date unless a federal judge stops it first.
The measure is part of City Council's 7-bill ICE out package passed in May. It was the only bill Mayor Parker didn't sign, the administration citing, quote, significant legal problems, but she didn't veto it, so it became law.
What is up, guys? TYSON DELACRUZ here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. June 18th, 2026, Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Associate Attorney General Stanley Woodward stood in front of cameras and said, "Today, we regrettably had to sue the birthplace of this great nation." That word, you guys, regrettably, is not one that you say when you're picking a political fight. It's the one that you say when you're forced into a lawsuit that the Constitution made obviously unavoidable. 4 defendants here: the city of Philadelphia, the mayor, the district attorney, Larry Krasner, we'll get into him in a little bit, and the city solicitor, Renee Garcia. The target here is Bill 260060, the one bill that Parker refused to sign from the 7-bill ICE out package the council passed in late April of 2026. Here's what this bill actually does. It makes it a criminal offense, okay? It makes it absolutely criminal under Philadelphia city law for a federal law enforcement officer to wear a mask. Where have we seen this before, guys? So it makes it criminal to wear a mask, federal officer, or use an unmarked vehicle or conceal their identity during a public interaction. All right. This, my friends, is standard federal operational gear, criminal under city ordinance inside the birthplace of our Constitution. The DOJ's argument runs through a Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, which says when federal agents and local conflict, federal law wins every single time. Every time, no matter what, without exception. This is not a new legal development on the horizon here. This has been the situation. It is the foundational rule of American federalism since 1788. But here's the specific thing that the coverage of this, the articles of this missed. When the DOJ drafted the federal complaint, they didn't just cite the text of the law. Watch what Krasner said at the Philadelphia International Airport months before the vote.
You commit crimes within the jurisdiction that is the city and county of Philadelphia, I prosecute you. That is how it works. No, I don't take a phone call from the president saying, let him go. No, the president cannot pardon you. I'll say it again. The president cannot pardon you. And yes, I will put you in handcuffs and I will put you in a courtroom. And if necessary, I will put you in a jail cell.
The quote is now evidence, and the federal complaint sends Krasner's public statement because the document that's intended behind the legislation, the named city officials publicly promising to handcuff, arraign, and jail federal agents that are doing federal work. The city council turned that promise into a criminal statute when the DOJ argues in court that the bill's purpose was to obstruct federal law enforcement. Krasner's own airport press conference would more than likely be Exhibit A in this situation. He gave the federal government its evidence spine while standing in the departure terminal in Philadelphia. Guys, before any of this reaches the courtroom, the city of Philadelphia's own legal officer tried to stop all of this. Go ahead and pull up article overlay A from NBC 10 Philadelphia. It states that, as I have previously advised, the bill presents significant legal problems, primarily concerning the authority of the city to regulate the conduct of federal officers when carrying out duties under federal law. This is from the City Solicitor Renee Garcia in a formal memo to the mayor, Mayor Parker. That is not a political opinion here. That is the city's own lawyer in writing before the vote, saying the law cannot survive a federal constitutional challenge. Mayor Parker, she looked at the memo. She read the memo. She cited it publicly as her reason for not signing it. The bill became law without her signature, and it auto-enacted. And on June 18th, Renee Garcia became defendant number 4, the same lawyer who wrote the memo that said, do not pass this. Do not pass go. She warned him and is now being sued in a federal court for the existence of the law that she warned them about. She's being sued for her professional position as an official who administers a bill. She told the mayor that it was unconstitutional, and she's defendant number 4. Think about what you have to believe to explain that sequence. You have to believe that the city council received a written legal warning from their own attorney, and then they're like, we're going to pass this thing anyways, and then expected the federal government to just simply walk away. That's not how this thing works. Listen to how council member, Kendra Brooks, explains the purpose when she introduced the legislation.
Our goal is to make sure that our folks feel safe here in the city and combat the intimidation that we see coming from the federal government.
The legislation would prohibit city agencies from collaborating with ICE. It would also ban ICE agents from wearing face masks and codify an executive order banning local police from acting as ICE agents.
Combat intimidation. That is what they say that the stated purpose is. And that's what they say that their concern behind it looks like. And they say that it's real because they said that mask agents in unmarked cars look like they are abducting people. What do you guys think? I don't think that they're abducting people. And the word abduction is kind of harsh. I think they're taking people, okay? They're taking people who entered this country illegally, who shouldn't even be here in the first place. That's what's going on. So maybe they are abducting people. They're abducting illegals. The constitutional problem is the remedy. You can't address what you believe is a federal overreach by making a federal operation a criminal offense under local law. That is a specific thing that the Supremacy Clause prohibits. The city's own solicitor said so, and they said it in the memo. The DOJ said so. The only people in the room who said otherwise were the council members who cast the votes that day. And they will now have to defend their position before a federal judge before July 7th. One council member said after the filing, Trump can sue all he wants, but I will not back down from this fight. Apparently, she understands what's in the federal complaint, including the fact that it quotes her district attorney's airport's press conference. The fight that she's describing will happen in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. It won't happen at a press conference. What's happening in Philadelphia is not isolated. We've seen this in every blue state, blue city. It's the most visible stop on a DOJ campaign that was already running before Krasner even ever said the word Nazi in public. And the timeline tells you exactly how long this has been building. June 11th, 2028, 1 week before the Philadelphia filing, the DOJ hit Virginia with a similar civil action challenge, a local law that restricted federal immigration enforcement. The same week as Philadelphia, New Jersey, California, Albuquerque, New Mexico, all named in a DOJ press conference, all the same category of local ordinance, laws that are attempting to restrict, obstruct, or criminalize federal enforcement operations inside a city or state borders. This is obviously not a single case here. The NBC 10 article quoted the DOJ directly. Go ahead and pop it up on the screen. Acting Attorney General Blanche has instructed the department's civil division to identify states and local laws, policies and practices that facilitate violations of federal laws or impede lawful federal operations. That is a standing mandate here, a directive to find and challenge every single local legal structure built to obstruct federal law enforcement. Philadelphia is probably one of the most prominent filings because it named the DA who promised to arrest federal agents, the mayor who acknowledged her own lawyer's warning, and the city solicitor who actually gave the warning. All three are defendants. Now watch how Krasner describes his legal theory behind all this.
Here is the law. The law is that a state prosecutor, when the federal officials are failing to do what their jobs are all about and what the law requires, we can bring charges, we can prosecute those charges. Those charges will be prosecuted either in state or federal court, but we're the ones who keep them. So you don't have an assistant U.S. attorney deliberately tanking the case to lose because Donald Trump told him to do so. And if we get a conviction, we have a superpower that federal prosecutors don't have. That superpower is that Donald Trump is unable to pardon anyone with a state court conviction. If you're not sure about that, ask Derek Chauvin.
And I got to give credit where credit is due. He's right that a state court conviction cannot be pardoned by any president. State prosecutors have real authority when federal officers commit genuine crimes. I'm going to emphasize that here. And the authority should exist. But Bill 260060 is not a mechanism for prosecuting crimes. It is a mechanism for prosecuting equipment. A mask is equipment. A government plate, equipment, unmarked vehicles used in every federal operation of this type in every city of America. A federal agent following federal protocol becomes a state criminal defendant the moment they cross into Philadelphia on July 7th. Not because they did anything wrong, but because of what they're wearing and what they're driving, not actually what they're doing. That, my friends, is the specific line the Supremacy Clause draws here. You can charge a federal officer who kills someone without jurisdiction. You cannot criminalize a standard operational posture of a federal agency. Krasner, he knows where that line is, and the DOJ complaint says the city deliberately crossed that line. Here's the thing. You can't defund the federal enforcement apparatus and demand that it still protect you. It makes no sense. Philadelphia wants the customs services at the Philadelphia airport. It wants the federal courthouse infrastructure. It wants the FBI field office. It wants all the federal services that run through the city. It passed a law that makes federal officers who run those services liable for criminal prosecution based on how they are dressed. Pick the services or pick the sanctuary here. Not both. America, welcome to the Dog and Pony Show of Philadelphia. The numbers that makes July 7th more than just a date, 19 days. That is the window that the DOJ has to get a federal judge to issue a temporary restraining order, or TRO, for blocking the bill 260060 from taking in effect. The standard for a TRO is that the moving party, the DOJ, shows a likelihood of success on the merits that the balance of hardship weighs in their favor. Given the city's own solicitor's memo and now the public record that we saw earlier in this video, the likelihood of success, that particular bar is going to be a very short walk. Here's what nobody calculated when the council voted. Renee Garcia is not just a defendant. She is potentially the DOJ's most useful witness. She put the constitutional problem in writing before the vote. She told the mayor in a former legal memo here that the city lacked authority to criminally regulate federal officers. The document now exists in both the public record and presumable federal discovery. The city's legal defense will have to explain why their own lawyer warned them that the law was unconstitutional, and they decided to pass it anyways. The Philadelphia DA called federal agents wannabe Nazis and promised to hunt them down. Can you imagine that? We've heard this before, right? The council built him the law to do it. The city's own lawyer told them that the law was unconstitutional. The mayor, She refused to sign it, and the council, they passed it without her. All three of them, Parker, Krasner, Garcia, are defendants in a federal lawsuit that quotes Krasner's airport press conference as evidence, cites Garcia's memo as acknowledgement of the problem, and the use of the birthplace of the Constitution as the venue here. They wrote a law criminalizing on how federal agents are dressed. Their own lawyer called it unconstitutional. She's now in the complaint. In law, that is called a self-executing problem. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.